Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. Because this letter came to me in two parts, the way I share it is going to be a little different than my usual posts. First, the Lord started by speaking about an unsolved murder case. He then took me into a vision about the focus of the case and afterwards gave insight about some things to expect regarding it in the days ahead. I then had a second vision. This entailed the entire globe and future happenings. He then gives us some words of encouragement and direction about how we should be positioning our priorities. And this is what I heard. A case that was closed long ago will soon be reopened, as there shall be an uncovering of evidence which proves the crime which was thought to have been committed actually was. Now, when I asked the Lord which case he was referring to, I suddenly had a vision in which I saw a small snapshot appear suspended in the air. At first, I couldn't make out the image, but as it began to gradually move closer to me, I recognized the person in the picture. It was of a young woman that had gone missing years ago. Foul play was suspected in her disappearance. And then the Lord continued. So while the one guilty of this heinous act is already serving time for another crime, he still has yet to face justice for this atrocity, for surely the proof of his involvement has been hidden away. Then this man shall finally be called to account for the evil he did perpetrate upon that young woman so many years ago. And thus shall this case, which was thought to be unsolvable, know a resolution. As surely shall the question of what happened to Natalie Holloway be put to rest. Although it is assumed that she is no longer among the living, this assumption shall be affirmed as correct. For the truth of her death shall have then been confirmed, thus somewhat easing the grief her mother has carried, as she will be given a definitive answer, one that clears away any lingering speculation. Suddenly then shall this story reappear in the headlines, causing many to again remember that young woman's name. And while her murderer thought he had gotten away with this crime, once this evidence is brought forth, which speaks to the role he played in her death, thereby shall he find it difficult to refute the charge of his guilt in her disappearance. Then the Lord shifted into a new vision. He took me out into space so that I could see the entire earth from above. He took his hands and placed them on either side of it and began turning and moving it positionally. As he did, the continents began shaking in some regions, causing the ground to open up, unearthing things that had been covered up, lost, and even forgotten. And then I heard this. See, then in this season shall the unexpected continue to occur. For surely shall there be much change unfolding upon the earth, as I further shift the world and its inhabitants back into alignment with my will. As such, shall the news be littered with such stories of unforeseen and astonishing events, those that shall be unexplainable by the likes of mere men, leaving many to ponder the reality of my existence. Then the turmoil throughout the world shall continue, with natural disasters and unseasonable weather patterns occurring, as this is simply the earth reacting to the global repositioning process currently underway. And so shall there be even more intense shaking in the days ahead, for it will not stop until my plan is accomplished. Then those who have created in their minds a fictional timeline as to the duration of this adverse season, thinking it shall be much shorter in length than it will be in reality, shall soon discover their predictions are inaccurate. For the criteria they have used to set its parameters is extremely narrow, as they only have certainty of the present moment where any human being is standing. For just like that, the unforeseen can intrude and change the course of not only history, but their lives as well. Then it would seem that due to the uncertain and unpredictable nature of this current season, it is only in me that anyone shall find a safe harbor from which to ride out the turbulence and upheaval that is surely to come. For though my own must still endure the adverse conditions, yet because they have put their hope in me, they shall rise from the other side of this season unscathed. So while much change is about to occur upon the earth, where that which was common, whether in thought or practice, shall suddenly become antiquated, still, this is not the end of all days. And so those who belong to me should not be concerned at this time about the second coming of my Son, for this is not the hour of his arrival. Therefore, give your time and attention to the ongoing effort of my kingdom expansion here on the earth, as nothing should hinder you, beloved, from spreading the gospel message, even during seasons of great tribulation. For did not Jesus himself warn you that in this world you would indeed face trouble? Yet in spite of trying times, internal peace can be found, as you are now in him, and he has overcome the world. So then don't allow the happenings upon the earth cause a sense of trepidation to fill your heart, thereby causing you to falter and avoid answering your higher calling, which is still to fulfill the Great Commission. For indeed, all of my children were given this charge. Then lay at my feet the concerns for your own life, and set as your priority the seeking and the saving of the lost. Thank you again for joining me today.